This video will demonstrate gathering information about an individual by attaching record hints. I went back to a person born around 1800 and then viewed them in the descendancy view and found three people that appear to need ordinances. So if I click on Ernest Edwin Sanders, his card will come up and I'm going to right click and open the link in a new tab. When I go to Ernest's person page, you'll notice that he has, as I scan down quickly to see what he is lacking, he doesn't have a death date and he doesn't have a spouse. So those are the two things that I'm particularly interested in finding. In the record hints, I have only one record hint, a United States Census that's 1910. Obviously, that's not going to give me his death information or his wife. And so initially, I might be a little bit disappointed. But I'm going to go ahead and attach this record hint. You'll notice that he'll be around 11 years old when the census was taken. So I click it. Now you have the choice at this point to review the information in this indexed format or just go ahead and click attach. If you click attach, you're not committed to attaching anything, and I prefer to do that so I can see the information laying side by side. I can see that his parents' names are the same, and I can see his information, and him being born in 1900 in Idaho. Usually census records are off just about a year in terms of, because they have a vague birth date rather than a precise birth date. So we're not bothered if the birth date's off by a year. And so you can see that this is definitely my person. And so I'm going to go ahead and attach it, and I'm going to say validates birth and family relations. And then I'm going to attach it. Now, this is the exciting part. Of course, I want to do his parents real quickly. Their birth is the same, and so what I typed in remains there. I'll go ahead and attach that, and then I'll click here, and I'll go ahead and attach this as well. But what I've got down below are the children in the family, and you can see that what I'm going to pick up are two new members of the family that I didn't have before, and I'm also going to pick up a birth date of 1890 for Elihu that I didn't have before. And so I compare Bertha, and she's born in 1889 in Kansas, and so again validates birth and family relations. I attach that, and then I go ahead and compare Elihu. I didn't have the birth date, and so I bring that across. This might be the difference between being able to take Elihu to the temple and not, because you have to have a valid date and place to take somebody to the temple. And so I might, with this, be qualifying him for temple work as well. I go ahead and attach that. Now, I'm going to attach these two people, but I have to bring them in and create them because Milton doesn't exist in my family. So I click add, and it brings up a thing that says we may have found Milton. So they searched and took a look and said, we've got a guy named Milton who's married to Lola. His birth date is 1888. Our birth date is 1894. That's far enough away, and it's Melton rather than Milton. I'm going to go ahead and create a new person. It's not a tragedy if I do that. I may end up down the road merging them back together, but I don't want to just gamble and take somebody that may not be my actual person. So I'd rather fudge on the side of creating too much and having to merge later than taking a person that isn't actually my person. So I create a new person, and it comes up and says all the information about it. Now, one thing I like to do right here is go ahead and standardize this in advance. So I click behind Kansas, put in a space, and click Kansas, United States. He is deceased because he's born in 1894. So then I can just go ahead and click Create New Person. And now on my side, that Milton has been created. The residence, I can swing across where he was living in 1910, and then the same thing that I've already typed remains, and I go ahead and attach it to my Milton. Now the other person that's missing is Bernice, and so I go ahead and do the same process with her, and they don't even come up with a possible duplicate. And so I'll quickly standardize Kansas, and I'll come down and I'll create a new person. And at this point, I bring over the residence in 1910 and attach it, and then I go ahead and compare Hazel. Bring over the residence and attach it. And so in that amount of time, you see that I've attached 5, 6, 7, 8 sources to, well, one source to 8 individuals. Now I want to mention to you that you can look at the actual image by clicking here, and it'll show you the census record. That's very helpful on many occasions because there's some of the columns that don't get indexed, and so especially on the 1900 census, it tells you how long a person's been married, and that usually isn't indexed, and so you want to come and look at the columns and see. Sometimes you want to know where the mother or father was born, and maybe that didn't get indexed. So to know about this is important. Let me jump to another record hint to show you something you should be aware of. For this different person, if I click this record hint that's available, it's a marriage record, and if I go to attach it, what will happen is something that you should be ready to cope with. I can't attach it to my person because it's already been attached to somebody else, and so they give you the option, do you want to detach it from this other person? Well, usually this means that you have a duplicate, and so and you don't know about this duplicate. It doesn't show up. If you notice on the person page, there is no data problem indicating that you've got a possible duplicate. You don't have it down here either, and so this is a great way to discover some people that are duplicates. And all that you'd have to do at this point to say, wait, I want this source attached to my person, is hover over the detach. I want to do this one. Hover over the detach and then come up to the number and right click on the number and open the link in a new tab. So now that's going to bring me to this Elio Hyatt. I would go there to him, and then I go back to mine and I get his number. I copy the ID, I come back to the other one, and then I come down here and do the merge by ID, put in the number that I got from my original individual, and then merge them. You'll notice that when it comes up, it says I can't do it unless I have the more complete allele on the left, and so I just switch positions, and I'm able to take E Hyatt and have him become merged with my allele. And you'll notice that he has no children and he has no parents. The only thing he has is the M Wheeler, which is my Mary Wheeler. And so I'm going to need to merge both Mary and E. And when I do that, then the source will be attached to my individual, and this other person that really is pretty well disconnected in terms of ancestors and descendants will be merged into my person as well. Hint, I just wanted to show you one other skill that you should be familiar with. If you were attaching a record hint and the two people didn't line up, Amy wasn't next to Amy, you can come over and there's a little arrow that will have that is available, and you can move your person up or down, and so I could put her next to Marietta. Now, of course, I don't want to do that because it was in the right place. But if they weren't matched up correctly, all you have to do is take these dragging arrows and put it next to the right person. And so that's right. There will be times where the arrows aren't going to be adequate to meet your needs. And what you'll have to do is come up on one side or the other up here and change the person that you're trying to compare and attach to. And so you can make it so that it's anybody that's on the record or in the tree, and make it so that they match up that way as well.
that will be a skill you'll need to practice a little bit to get good at.
Well, that is how you go ahead and attach record hints. And by doing that, you'll find that you're able to, a lot of times, have multiple people be discovered. And so now I get to take all of these people to the temple, and they're each one qualified just from that one record, if not any others. Now, of course, I'll be adding more. In the next video, I'm going to demonstrate how to add sources through Ancestry and using a tool called Record Seek, because we still don't have a death date and a spouse for Ernest. And since I don't have them up here in record hints, I'm going to go to Ancestry and see if Ancestry has that.